Basic Arithmetic 4, Directed Numbers. Directed numbers allow for the arithmetic operations with numbers that are either positive or negative. It's a concept that's first encountered in Year 7, but you would have been using this through Years 7, 8, 9 and 10, but we review it again now. Adding positive numbers. Adding positive numbers is what we're most familiar with. It's what you first encounter in primary school. 2 plus 3 is 5. Now, when we have a negative number involved, it's a little more unfamiliar, so sometimes it's helpful to use a number line to represent what's going on. Draw a number line, put a 0 here as a marker, and then we know that the minus 5 is over here to the left of the 0, and if we add 2, it's going to be 2 jumps to the right, which means we'll be here at minus 3. So minus 5 plus 2 is going to be minus 3. Subtracting a positive number, again, something that's very familiar from primary school. If we have 2 minus 3, the answer will be minus 1. If we have minus 4 minus 2, having two negative signs can be somewhat confusing for people at times. So again, think about the number line, put the 0 as a marker here. Over to the left-hand side, we'll put the minus 4, we know it's to the left of the 0. If we're subtracting 2, then it's going to be 2 jumps to the left. So we're going to be here at minus 6. So minus 4 minus 2 is equal to minus 6. Adding negative numbers. What's important to remember is that if you're adding a negative number, it's the same as subtracting a positive number. So it's possibly more helpful to rewrite this as 2 minus 3. And that'll give us the answer that we had previously, minus 1. Again, for the second example, minus 4 plus minus 2, adding a negative number is the same as subtracting a positive number. So we can rewrite this as minus 4 minus 2. And our answer will be, as before, minus 6. Subtracting negative numbers. So what's an important thing to remember is that if you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding a positive. If you subtract a negative, it's the same as adding a positive. So if we rewrite this first example, it'll be 5 plus 2, which will give us 7. Adding and subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Alright, so for the second example, minus 2 minus minus 3, well, first of all, let's think about this. It's going to be minus 2 and it'll be plus 3 because subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive. Now if we draw a quick little number line, a 0, we know that the negative 2 is off to the left here. So we'll put in the negative 2 and there's going to be adding 3. So that will take us up to 1. So minus 2 plus 3 equals 1. With multiplying and dividing directed numbers, it's important to remember that we can have two possible situations where the sign of the numbers is the same or the sign of the numbers is different. If the sign of the numbers is the same, that is positive and positive or negative and negative, then the answer is going to be a positive answer. It'll be a positive number. So in this first example, we've got 3 times 4, which is 12. Easy arithmetic. In the second example, we have minus 3 times minus 4. Well, we know that 3 times 4 is 12. And now we know that a negative times a negative is a positive. So the answer will be positive 12. If the signs are different, that is, we can have a positive and a negative numeral, or we have a negative and a positive numeral, then the answer is negative. So if we look at the first example, again, look at the numerals. 3 times 4, well, that's 12. But it's positive 3 and negative 4, so when you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative answer. The answer is negative 12. If we look at the second example, multiply the numerals together. 3 times 4, it's 12 in this case, making all these quite straightforward examples and simple multiplications. But we have negative 3 times positive 4. So a negative times a positive, the signs are different, so the answer in multiplication will become a negative. Basic concepts in directed number that you need to be able to practice right now and be quite competent with throughout your maths careers.